On deck.
We have ATN alternate versus the true Swedish powerhouse. These guys are up and at 'em because while we were on a little bit of a break, they went and just drafted everything. So, unfortunately, and a little bit fortunately, we won't be able to talk about the draft as it goes, but we're going to get right into the match, and we'll talk about the draft when we get into it to give you guys a little bit of a taste. Alternate went with Stitches, Uther, Sergeant Hammer, Zagara, and Malfurion. So once again, that theme is stand your ground with that Stitches, get that Stitches, get the Sergeant Hammer, Zagara. It's such a well-rounded lineup. Now with a double healer composition as opposed to what Fnatic just did with a single healer and single warrior with 3 damage dealers. They're going back a little bit more sustain and just a little bit more control and utility coming out from that Uther. And the true Swedish powerhouse picked themselves up a Rhaegar, Diablo, Nazeebo, Tyron, and Avala. The bans, for those that were curious, is alternate banned out of Chen and is powerhouse banned out in Illidan.
So we're actually looking at pretty much the entire Fnatic line minus minus the Tychus. They actually picked themselves up the Uther instead of the Tychus, but they got the Siege Sisters, the Hook, and the Root combo, and it's the same map. And we just saw this almost same combo do some extraordinary work here from Fnatic. So we're gonna have to see if Alternate can actually do a similar amount of work up against the true Swedish powerhouse, TTSB. Yes. And but you know, there's no Ildens, there's no Chen. The Chen ban is actually really interesting to me. But on the flip side, I mean, like, I'm looking at the powerhouse. I mean, they got themselves a good frontliner with the Diablo. He can definitely get extremely tanky these days. But at the same time, I mean, I'm looking at the Rhaegar, the Tyrande. The Tyrande did not make it through to the draft last round. And it's, once again, that solid backline of the Vala and the Nazeebo. It worked once, or it worked in a few fights here before with that back-end combo, but we have a very similar, if not more, ways to deny out the Nazeebo this round. So it's going to be on the TTSB to keep that back line from crumbling.
Yeah, looking at what Powerhouse can do is they have a Diablo Tyrone, which is a great composition for picking heroes off, not only in the early game, but throughout the course of the game, just because of how those heroes scale. Depending on what heroic Diablo goes, Breathe Fire, or Lightning Breath. I always say Breathe Fire. I realize I've been saying it wrong for so long. Lightning Breath.
Diablo breathes fire.
Yes. Lightning Breath is an option, though with the lineup that Alternate has, I really don't know, because if they can just casually walk out of it, then it really doesn't do much, especially with the double healing. We might see an Apocalypse just to try to, you know, go along those lines of big burst with a Apocalypse followed up after a good Tyrande stun, maybe a Rain of Vengeance from Vala, Nazeebo obviously catching people out with a zombie wall, things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do, but I think we're going to have there's definitely a better potential of the early game being a little bit more exciting with that Diablo and the Tyrande, just because there's such a great roaming composition. Diablo's Shadow Charges overpowers right as the overpower animation starts. Whoever's playing that Tyrande lands the Lunar Flare on the opposing side, and generally that nerd is going to go down. Speaking of things that are going down, we are into the match here, Sean. I am so excited. And on the left side of your map, in blue, is going to be the team you know as ATN Alternate. Playing the Zagara is going to be Gluehammer in the top lane. In the mid lane is Mopsoya. We'll call him Mop. Mop playing the Malfurion. Curlew on Uther. Allen on the Sergeant Hammer. And Arden on the Stitches.
Mopsio is a name that I think I recognize from League of Legends. I could be wrong, though, there. Definitely a name that I'm recognizing, though. It's in the back of my line. Now, this is also a team on the right-hand side that we don't have a lot of experience with, but the true Swedish powerhouse going to come out strong with this draft. They have some really good pick-off potential. It's going to be up to them to make it work, though. Into the top lane, it's going to be Deviz. It's going to be Marzel holding down the mid. And that's a Blood and Manchi coming down to support the Crosby? The Crosby into the bottom lane.
Crosby.
No Bill Crosby jokes tonight, Mr. Shane, I request.
Oh, I didn't even think about it until just now.
Good, let's not.
All right, well, I won't be out for blood then.
Yeah. So once more, we see a Zagara into the top lane. A little bit of a different build with her, as I'm looking bottom, as Arden is not looking so healthy all of a sudden. But instead of the reconstitution, it's Corpse Feeders this round. You're going to be looking for a heavy pushing Zagara up against this Vala.
Yeah, I don't know what this Vala, I mean, as long as the Zagara plays it right, smart with the Hydralisk usage, could definitely potentially boss out. Like, not doing that. He's tanking on top of the Vola, though. The Vola made a big commitment with that vault. He actually could have gone down there. If Gluehammer committed there, it would have been really, really close. But I actually feel like Zagara would have had the step up there on top of the Vola. But forcing her to use the fountain, so is she. They're going to top themselves off and get back to business as usual in the top lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane, once again, Sean, that lovely party lane we got going on.
Yeah, protect the hammer comp. I mean, they got the stitches into the stun here from an Uther. They could, in theory, start going roaming with it, or at least that's definitely the better of the comps there. But down here, I mean, if you put Arden behind the siege tank, and then you get off a hook, you can actually hook into a concussive blast into a Fist of Judgment right into top of those towers. And double tower slamming on you this early into the game would be absolutely massive. So they're looking for that pickoff, but they're very much more importantly keeping that hammer safe. She's able to siege up, continually push out this lane, and very little to fear. I mean, the Tyrande as a counter to the hammer happens a lot. A lot. But in this kind of early game comp, there's really not too much pickoff potential coming out from the Swedes.
Down to the bottom lane, alternate is out for Blood, and I don't know if they're going to get it. It's going to be close.
Oh, wow.
Wow, Blood getting away with 15 HP. As that would have been a little detrimental, as he was at the time the solo laner for bottom lane, so he was the only person soaking that. If he went down, obviously there would have been no experience to gain. While his teammates fell back to the Siege Ogres, they're going to be picking that up here momentarily. And as they pick that up, good timing indeed. There is the first tribute right at the top part of the map. Looking how the lanes are, yep, Zagara, as I thought, has been doing a great job in this lane. She's a little wounded, but she definitely is the victor so far. Both those towers are pretty much out of ammo, and forcing Vola out of the lane as the tribute spawns. A good early game so far.
Now they had a little bit more of an earlier roam coming out from the Diablo, because Diablo into the bottom lane, as you said, 15 hit points a little bit earlier. So he was in the better position to come up here, and it does look like more of the Swedes are going to be on their way. Tyrande already sending out that stun. We had the fire waves there from Blood, but you know, it's a 4-man collapse from Ultimate. I mean, they're gonna have, it's gonna be the 4-on-4, but that angle coming in from the Gluehammer really took Davies to town, and he had just come back from Fountain as well. He's not gonna be part of this fight, and you can see the rest of them are gonna get zoned out by the double support in the front. Gluehammer throwing out as much spam as he can, and the first tribute will go into the pocket of Team Alternate, as they're now gonna disperse and try to paint the map a bit more blue.
Bottom lane was getting pushed in, but Sergeant Hammer is one of the hardest heroes to push into at any stage of the game. So Allen is going to be able to clean that up real well. Powerhouse falling back to the Bruisers. Vola and Diablo picking those up. Blood's got to be careful, at least. A lot of damage.
Is he going to be able to do this?
Yeah, they should be able to do it now with him falling back and one of the heroes going, or one of the Bruisers going down. They should be able to do it. They just got to make sure they don't get caught out of position. But that's not going to happen. Alternate was back at their Siege Ogres, picking those up as well. Level 7 is here for both teams, and out of the Malfurion. So this is a build we see for Malfurion. It's commonplace now in double healer compositions. At level 7, normally you either see Mule if it's Sky Temple or Haunted Mines, or you see improved regrowth if he's a solo healer. This situation, though, he's going with the Elun's Grace that enables him to have basically longer range on the roots, so enables him to stay safer and at the same time root people out. But once level 16 is here and he gets Tenacious Roots, it has great synergy, those two talents together, as he can just, the roots are so hard to avoid. And speaking of things getting hard to avoid, Vola getting picked off. I believe that was in the top lane.
And I don't see a body. I immediately looked top lane, but I didn't see a body. So if she was there, well, unfortunately, I did not see it. I do apologize for the camera work there. We do got a little bit more of a collapse coming out. I mean, Gluehammer. Oh, Gluehammer! Oh. Got the vision at the end of it. Manshee's now coming up here as well. They're just going to look for that return, but unfortunately, she's way too late to the party. And you're right about those range. Look at the range on that Moonfire, the range on those roots. Mopsio is doing some absolute work. And now Manchee is way too far forward on the wrong side of that line of scrimmage. She's still going to be ticking away here. Still actually alive. Is not going to get hit by that hook, and I don't think there's enough here in the tank for Alternate actually to get a kill, even though we do got those heroics ready to go. So Manchee with the impossible trek, but she did it. She's alive. Second tribute, though, on the back of all that, did go to Alternate. The top gate is down. The Stone Bros are, well, the Stone Bro, who lost his counterpart there, is doing work. Nazebo gets hooked. Arden takes him down. That's going to leave Allen here to this bottom lane gate. And, you know, a 2-level advantage coming out by the end of it all, Mr. Shane. It's looking fantastic for Alternate so far.
Yeah, they are well ahead in this game. 3 kills. They have the tier 1 towers top lane with the fort being pushed in as well with the Siege Ogre left in there. The tier 1 towers in bottom lane are taken out. Now the tier 1 towers in mid lane are pretty low as well.
We just had a ping right there at that tribute, and lo and behold, there it is.
Look at those guys. That's telekinesis, Kyle. Though, level 10 is here for Powerhouse, so even though they're behind another level, at least they have that talent here. Alan in the bottom lane, though, they could potentially get a kill here. They are going to commit the Ravenous Spirit. Meanwhile, Tehran gets taken out. Alan is going to be able to get away from the Ravenous Spirit. So they baited out the Ravenous Spirit. They didn't get a kill right at this tribute at the bottom lane. Sergeant Hammer's not going to be here, though. No, he has his fountain up. He's going to come back here to the fight, and this is looking great for Alternate right now.
I didn't see where Toronto went down. I'm assuming top lane because there's a lone Zagara up there. But, you know, the rest of the four are here from the Swedish Powerhouse. They're looking for these kills, but they've already used a few of their heroics. They really don't have a huge amount in the bank. Valley gets hooked out. She's now going to be down. Marcel's going to be on the run here as well. And this is for sure tribute number 3 going the way of Alternate. And they don't even have to deal with the top. The top 4, they didn't have Zagara. Zagara was just pushing away. That is a massive advantage because we're about to hit 13 from Alternate. There it is. They got the entire talent tier advantage their way for another 3 levels on the back of a curse. I mean, this is going to be what? Double boss? This is going to be the forts? This is like absolutely massive momentum that Alternate is capitalizing on.
Looking at their level 13 talents, I would hate to be Diablo this game. We're seeing the Giant Killer come out from Zagara and Hammer, which are both pretty standard talent choices on them.
No.
Well,
there's no Mutalisk. You don't need a list.
I meant for Hammer.
Okay, that's Hammer's.
I got a 50%. I flipped the coin. It's all good. But nonetheless, with this double Giant Killer, man, that just shows emphasis on let's kill the Diablo because he went Lightning Breath, which means he's going to initiate. And if they don't get a kill onto anyone with the initiation plus the Lunar Flare combination, Diablo is just going to be going down. There is Ancestral Healing to fall back on, but still, there's so much damage being sunk into that Diablo. It's going to be really hard to keep him up in these fights once he pops that Lightning Breath, assuming that he's not in an insanely good position.
Well, I mean, there goes the curse. Didn't get as much done as I would have expected. In fact, we do split out the bosses, but, you know, we do got our Siege Giants. We also have the Siege Golem. I mean, this keep, its days are absolutely numbered. And the rest of the team here, I mean, they are going to use this advantage. We don't have 13 yet. And, wow, the Ancestor goes down. The Lightning Breath is going to go through its entire duration, but there goes Flood. He's gone. Crowley's sprinting in, gets the stun on top of Crosby and Marcel, who gets rooted on the back of that with that Grave Golem, but unfortunately it's just not enough to land that Devouring. Instead, it's going to be the hook. Manchi, no escapes available, and nobody has died here from Alternate. We still got those Ogres pushing forward. They're going to go for the win.
They are looking really good right here, about to hit level 16, and right now it looks like Alternate just outclassing the Swedish Powerhouse. Unfortunately, they're a powerhouse, but they got to get a little bit more better. Here is going to be their last futile defense. Can they save it? They get a kill on the Malstrian, but with the Sergeant Hammer in the back lines, the Zagara going on in there, they do end up getting it narrowly. That was pretty close there. They actually had the potential of defending, but with the Uther Ghost and Sergeant Hammer sitting in the back line doing what a Sergeant Hammer does, destroy buildings and make you really, really angry. Able to get that kill on the core right there. So Alternate definitely looking real strong right there. That was outright just a one-sided match. They went ahead. They got themselves tickets. They put some buckets, some trash cans on their feet, and they stomped the yard there, Sean.